At WP Rocket, we preach that a fast website is a must-have. But what exactly makes up a fast website? Well, today's video will provide you with the answers that you need to know. So without any further hesitation, let's get started with 13 website performance metrics that you need to know. Number 1 is uptime. No matter what your website's reason, if your traffic can't reach it because the site is down, you are effectively closed for business. Now, uptime is the responsibility of your web host. So if you experience frequent downtime or bandwidth issues, it is worthwhile reviewing your current hosting options. And while no host can guarantee 100% uptime, you should be aiming for uptime 99.99% of the time. Second is time to first byte. The time it takes for the first byte of information to reach a visitor's browser after a connection to the server has been requested is called time to first byte, or TTFB. Now, this key metric is calculated by adding up the redirect duration, the connect duration, and the backend duration. And some of the ways that you can improve your site's TTFB is by optimizing the code, fine-tuning your web server configuration, and upgrading your server hardware. Number 3 is time to first paint. First paint marks the point immediately after navigation when the browser renders pixels to the screen. Google describes this key metric as important to the site visitor because it answers the question, is something happening? First paint timing is significant because up to this point, the browser will have only displayed a blank page, and this state change shows the visitor that the page is actually loaded. Next is time to first contentful paint. First contentful paint time is the point when the browser renders the first bit of content, which might be text, an image, or another element. For site visitors, this timing signifies when actual content has been loaded on the page and not just any change. Now, if you do want to learn about how to improve your first contentful paint, check out this article that we have linked in the description below. Next is largest contentful paint. The largest contentful paint metric tells you how long it takes for the largest element on your page to become visible in the viewport. This metric is also pretty important since it's one of the core web vitals and can also affect your SEO performance. Now, if you aren't too sure about optimizing your LCP score, we have covered it in another video on this channel that once again we recommend you watch after this one. 6 is first input delay. This is another core web vital metric that measures how long it takes for the browser to respond to the first user's interaction with a page. A pro tip here is that if the total blocking time is good, you really shouldn't have to worry about the first input delay performance either. 7 is time to interactive. The time to interactive metric marks the point at which the page is both visually rendered and capable of reliably responding to the user's inputs. This means that the visitor can scroll the page, click on the links, and complete other interactions on your site. Number 8 is HTTP requests. Every time someone visits a page on your site, their browser pings your web server and requests the files that contain the content of that page. This can include HTML, CSS, JavaScript files, images, icons, and many other files. Now, if this is something that you want help with, we have a whole article that covers these solutions, once again, that we will link in the description below. 9 is onload time. Onload time is when the page has finished processing and all of the resources on the page have also finished downloading. These resources would include text, images, CSS, and JavaScript files. 10 is fully loaded time. The time to fully load is measured as the time from when the visitor initially navigates to the page until 2 seconds after there is no network activity. Like onload time, this usually includes any activities that JavaScript triggers after the main page loads. 11 is connection time. This is the time between a request and when a connection is made between the visitor's browser and the web server. Now, there are a lot of different factors that can contribute to connection time, such as heavy server traffic and the visitor's geographical location. Now, if you want to improve your site's connection time, you might want to experiment with the following load testing tools that we have listed on the screen right now. 12 is total page size. This metric refers to the total sum of all the elements that it takes to render your page. This includes the HTML files, CSS, JavaScript files, images, multimedia, third-party domains, pretty much anything and everything. To provide you some insights, in 2011, web pages were on average 717 kilobytes. Now in 2021, the average is 2,000 kilobytes from desktop and 1,800 kilobytes from mobile. So this is something you definitely want to make sure you understand, as total page size seems to only be getting larger. And our last metric is third-party domains. Now, your site may contain some elements such as embedded videos, gravatars, and social media widgets that are hosted by third-party domains. And because of how they are stored, you have very limited control over their functionality and the speed at which they load. Now, the best way to gauge what impact these elements are having on your page speed is to do a waterfall analysis to identify which assets are taking the longest time to load. And then after seeing that, depending on what your test says, you might want to reconsider whether you really need certain slow loading assets or you want to remove them completely. And those are the 13 website performance metrics that you need to know about. But the most important metrics you should also really focus on are your core web vitals. Now, if you aren't too sure about the core web vitals, check out this video that we have made previously right here. Goodbye, have a good day, and watch this video.